Hello and welcome to another edition of Thoughtful Leaders and Their Thoughts in Education by collegedunia.com. Today we have with us Dr. Sridhara Murthy. To tell you more about Dr. Sridhara Murthy, he's an entrepreneur and educationist. He is currently the president at National School of Business. He's been the director at Bhavan SIET Institute of Management and assistant director at Ohio Manipal School of Business. It's an honor to have you on board, sir.
Thank you very much, Samra. What a great pleasure to spend some time with you this morning.
Great. So we have a lot of questions for you, sir. So without further delay, shall we move on to the questions?
Please go ahead, Samra.
Great. So you have held key positions at education institutes throughout your professional career. What are the key factors that keep you connected with the education sector?
Oh, thank you, Samra, for starting with a very interesting philosophical question this morning. What a good way to start. See, as far as I am concerned, I always believe that every individual is born with some purpose. And there are no accidents in this. We are going to do what we are supposed to do. And Mark Twain once said, there are two great days in the life of an individual. The day you are born and the day you realize why. I think I'm very lucky, I must say that, I realized that my whole life is about teaching in a very young stage. When I joined my primary school in the first standard, the second week or third week, the only teacher that we had in the government primary school, he handed over the keys and said, you will be responsible for opening the college doors, ensuring that everything is cleaned up, set the students for prayer, and wait for me to come. And from the day one, I was literally a teacher. Since he was only one, we used to have 4 sections, standard 1, 2, 3, 4. And whenever he's in the 4th section, and I used to be a assistant teacher for him in my own class. I used to teach multiplication table to the students, and I used to teach them new words. I think my life began as a teacher, I must say. And I was actually transforming to become a brilliant teacher as I went along, even in higher primary schools, high schools and college levels. And I had ample opportunities to improve my communication skills. I was participant in elocution competitions, debate competitions, and then I literally won all sorts of awards, maybe collegiate level, maybe district level, maybe state level. I was always topper in debate competitions, and I never gave up an opportunity to be topper in the classroom, or for that matter, take up that opportunity to coach my students. So I think literally that teacher was in me. Even when I was a small child, I used to ensure that all my sisters, sit next to each other and then take lessons from me. And so I think somewhere within me, the teacher who was already existing was expressing. And normally, whenever I used to go for interviews and everything, people used to ask me one interesting question: is teaching is your passion? Is it a passion for you? I used to tell them that, I think in my case, teaching is my passion is an understatement. Teaching, in fact, is my heartbeat. Many of my students, after this thing, many of my fellow classmates, they were searching for corporate jobs, and then I never looked for anything beyond applying in educational institutions. I think this is my karma. I'm here. I'm extremely happy about it. In fact, if I do not go to classes now and then, I get very depressed. So classroom is the best place for me to be in, and teaching is the best place I can do. Thank you, Samra. Over to you.
Great, sir. That's a wonderful journey you have so far, and it's really great hearing about all those things. Again, moving on to the next question. Being the founder, president, and director of NSB, what is your philosophy and leadership, and how would you describe your leadership style?
Excellent question on leadership. I think there are quite a few definitions and leadership styles. But then, to be very honest with you, I'm a very practical person in the sense, to me, leadership is all about leading the people towards goals by guiding them, motivating them, mentoring them, encouraging them, and why not learning from them. This is extremely important. See, once you have a vision as a leader, once you know where you are trying to go, the next important thing is ensuring that you have the right kind of people to share your vision. Because if you are a leader, you need to have followers, and followers should not have doubts in the clarity of the vision of the leader or the communication. So once this happens, once you know that you have a right kind of people who are willing to share your vision, who are willing to work hard towards realization of that particular vision, life becomes so much so easy. Then what is the role of a leader? Leader sometimes will have to be just a servant leadership, what I am trying to say, in the sense when people know what to do, when people are very excited about the goals that you are trying to accomplish, and they're all willing to contribute their efforts to accomplish your goal, then you become their servant. You just have to facilitate them with resources, and you need to ensure that they are motivated. You need to ensure that you are available to talk to them whenever they want, etc., etc. But at the same time, let me also tell you, in the changing circumstances, it's not just enough that you always act as a servant to the accomplishment of the goals. Sometimes there can be stages in the lives of organizations wherein the organizations might have to take a very strategic shift, a transition. For example, now we have national education policy, which is very new, and therefore it is important and imperative for institutions to really understand and then ensure that we gear up with the requirements of such new policies by the government. In such situations, we know that we have to bring in a lot of changes. In such scenarios, leadership will have to play a very critical role, what I would call as transformational leadership. Leader should understand how we need to transform from this particular point to the next point, and how people needs to change, process needs to change, technology needs to change. So to tell you, I think leadership role is extremely clear, that you stay attuned to your goals, ensure that people clearly understand your goals and people are committed to it, and then ensure that all resources are provided. And the most important attribute is you as a leader be a role model in terms of your integrity, in terms of your communication, in terms of your contribution. Thank you, Samra.
Yes, well, wonderful, sir. Those are some great thoughts. I'm pretty sure a lot of people look up to you and envy you, as so do I. So moving on to the next question, being the founder, president, director at NSB, how do you strategize about the key programs and plans for the marketing and administration of your college?
Very, very focused question. The first important thing is, I think in your questions there are two inbuilt things. The first one is programs, and the second one is the marketing. So let me emphasize on each one of those things. The program, the first important thing is my vision is very, very clear. What food are you going to cook? You cook something that you know very well. As simple as that. Because education is such a thing. Just because you have an institution, just because you have a capacity, just because you have ample space, it doesn't mean to say that you can start everything that people can do. That's not our objective. Our objective is to ensure that we do something in which we have competency, in which we can bring in uniqueness, which we can bring in tremendous impact to the participants. I think that is extremely crucial. As educationists, let me tell you, we need to be very conscientious as to what we can do and what we cannot do. See, NSB, for that matter, we can start a primary school, we can start in a high school, we can be in pre-university education, we can do anything. But that's not the issue. The whole issue is what is something that we know? What is something in which we have competency? What is something that our resources cater best to? And therefore, what we try to do is, we try to do something in which we have the maximum understanding. I think, according to me, that is the management education. This is because I myself have been the subject of management education for the last 25 years, and I have gone through best global universities, and then I have been the student there, and then I understand this extremely well, and then we have extremely good industry connect. We know what industry really wants, and therefore you have a program that best fits your abilities, wherein you can do a maximum contribution and ensure that students at the end of the day are the big beneficiaries of an immense transformation process that happens with the required kind of insights. And coming to marketing, let me tell you one important thing. In education, marketing is all about best serving your students. I think most of the educational institutions in the country, if you look at them, they have become extremely popular because what they did, not because of the advertisements. advertisements and then talking too much in the media may not help an institution as much as their immense contribution to the lives and careers of the students. I think that is the philosophy of National School of Business. At NSB, what we try to do is we try to ensure that every student who comes in to our fold is made valuable, is given the right kind of inputs, is given the right kind of counseling, is given the right kind of orientation to become an extraordinary corporate citizen. If you look at our success, our alumni being in 25, 30 different countries and serving global companies and multinational companies, that stands more or less as a testimony to what we say. And after all, as you also know, as far as marketing is concerned, today as institutions, we have lost power on our own brands because no one is going to actually come to NSB looking at our website or looking at what we say about NSB and NSB's program. Today's students are going to communicate with the social media, talk to students who are currently in the program and share their experiences. And so therefore, I think the best way to market the program is to be true to yourself and to train students in this best spirit of training. I think that defines the marketing for educational institutions for now and also for the future.
So true, sir. So true. I strongly agree with all those points. So the next question would be, the education systems in India and other foreign countries are structured very differently, right? So in your experience, what can an inbound student gain from studying here in your institute?
Beautiful question. Thanks for asking that, because this is something that I face day in, day out. To tell you, NSB is very blessed to have a lot of international exchange programs. At least 50% of our students are taken on overseas study missions or exchange programs or international business studies or even the international certification programs that we have. And equally true that, we receive a lot of students from across the globe to our institution. And thank you, and that actually helps us internationalize our education, set global benchmarks. While that has been the real positive point, we also face the very important factor, which is part of your question. These two things are very different. Culturally, students are different. In terms of content, what we deliver is different. The way we teach is different. There are pedagogical differences. So now what we try to do is, we actually try to ensure that first of all, in our methodology, there is a standard global protocol that is followed, which I think is extremely important. So when you have that standard global protocol and the standard global context, then students will be able to actually fit in very easily into that particular context, point number one. Second important thing is helping students acclimatize with the new system and to tell them to appreciate the differences, because more and more they know about cultures, the more and more they understand the nuances of each country's their environments, and students are going to become much more tolerant. They're going to become much more resilient. Sure, whenever they come, initially some students may have even cultural, they say that, this is very different from what we have experienced. But then we tell them that, look, you have come here to experience that difference. And difference exists, and these differences are necessary. Differences should not lead to friction. Differences, in fact, should lead to friction and further lead to enlightenment. So therefore, I think the students who come from Western countries, let me tell you, they go with immense satisfaction visiting India. Learning is going to be immense. Second important thing, the behavior of our student, which I think is very friendly, open-hearted. And third important thing, we normally Indians are great hosts, and for us, Atithi Devo Bhava, so we try to take care of them extremely well. Our students really cooperate, and more than anything else, the diversity that they see, the potential of people that they see, the transformation that they see that is happening in India, especially a lot of multinational companies coming in herds and droves, and people working 24/7. People working 45, 50 hours in a week, and new entrepreneurial spirit, the dynamism in business. I think people go with a lot of impressions and good impressions about India, and they do tell me that we had a different perception about India before we came here, and then now we are actually going back with an altogether different perception, which I think is extremely important.
Great, wonderful, wonderful. So the next question will be, any insights into how your college could be more welcoming to students of different races or economic backgrounds?
Again, I must tell you some brilliant question from the secular and ethnicity perspective of India. A brilliant question that you have asked. Let me tell you, many times we say that an Indian flag is a tricolor. Of course, the Indian flag is a tricolor. But if you look at NSB is a rainbow. We believe in admitting students literally from every state of India. We have students from Jammu and Kashmir all the way till Kerala and Tamil Nadu. And that has been our endeavor. Because whenever I walk into a classroom, what I would like to see is India, not any one particular state. Second important thing is, how do we accomplish gender diversity? Let me tell you, this is extremely important in higher education. What is happening? Most of the girls in the Indian society are getting married at the very early ages, and therefore the number of girls who can actually come into higher education is very limited. So as a consequence, what happens is classes are going to become very male. It becomes a male-dominated world. So at NSB, we never wanted to do that. We wanted to create a real reflection of our society in our classrooms, and therefore we ensure that more or less we have equal number of girls. And that is the distinction of NSB, I must tell you. Because even in reputed higher education institutions, one important thing that they face is how do we ensure that we have the right proportion of boys and girls. And to be very honest with you, NSB is really blessed to have the right proportion and right mix of boys and girls. And it's very nice to see the real reflection of our society in the classroom. Next important thing is how do we bring in that diversity, as you said. We would like to, in our classrooms, have students from all from arts to law. We have doctors, we have veterinarians, we have agricultural scientists, we have statisticians, we have people from mathematics background, economics background, engineering background, of course, commerce background. So now, so what happens is, when we get into a classroom, 2 + 2 is not always 4 as engineering and mathematics students look at. So it can be creatively something more than 4, as is going to be argued by the students from arts discipline. So all in all, if you look at the structure of students in NSB, it is a true reflection of the society in which we live. Rich to poor, someone who has done arts to someone who has done zoology, and a right combination of boys and girls. So that defines the matrix of NSB. Thank you, Samra. Very nice question.
Great, sir. It's lovely how you answer all these questions. Your thoughts are great and wonderful and inspiring. So moving on to the next question, what do you think your roles and responsibilities to the college and the students are?
Excellent. Again, very interesting question. What my responsibility is for students in the college? To be honest with you, I have no responsibility in college. The responsibility is only for the students, because college is meant for students. So I think as a leader, I do not want to be confused about multiple responsibilities that I have for multiple people. It's very simple. The main responsibility is students, and rest everything happens around the students. Students are our top priority. For example, if I have to ensure that every student who comes into the fold of NSB has to be made valuable, has to be placed at the end of the day, has to be really transformed, then I need to create that kind of a physical and intellectual infrastructure in NSB. If I have to create that kind of a physical infrastructure, I have to bring in technological transformation. I have to include a lot of technology in classrooms. I have to ensure that there is a lot of action-oriented learning that happens in the classroom. And in order to facilitate all these things, I need to have great professors, intellectual environment. And if I have to have great professors, then I need to ensure that I really take care of them. So I think fundamentally students are our priority, but then in order to cater to the requirement of students, we need to create the best possible physical and intellectual environment within NSB, and therefore everyone is taken care. all professors are kept happy, all professors are kept learning, all of them are encouraged to study more and more. See, because at the end of the day, Samra, we cannot actually pour it from an empty cup. Our cup should be full before we actually pour it. Unless we are enriched, unless we learn a lot, unless we infuse ourselves with a lot of knowledge, new technologies, new creativity, there is nothing much we can do in the classrooms. And therefore, I think to me, the most important thing is ensuring that the whole team, which actually caters to the students, are completely energized and they're motivated to do so. So that's my priority.
Great, wonderful. So, what do you think should be the college's top priority over the next 10 years?
Samra, as I said very clearly, whether it is 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, or 20 years, and top priority is outcomes for students. Because I think that defines everything for what we need to do internally. See, we have to, I think at some point in time, we have to work backwards. I do not want to be an educational institution, which would do things, hoping that, this would be useful for my student. No, I think we have to work backwards. If at all, if I have to place all my students, if I have to ensure that all students are industry ready, if I have to ensure that all my students, who walk in the halls of NSB are going to eventually become scholars, philosophers, researchers, management professionals, and leaders, what kind of an environment that I need to provide? And if that environment has to be created within an NSB, how do we ensure that we create this as a kind of a launch pad wherein we have all required communities and resources? And that becomes a priority. And the next important thing is, if you want to ensure that your students have a very good recognition in the market, and it's also important that the institution has right kind of articles, right kind of publications, right kind of intellectual pool, and then we have right kind of international accreditations, maybe ACS International, ACBSP or NBA, whatever it is. So therefore, what happens is, in the process of creating value for our students, we need to ensure that the institution also stands up to that reputational requirement. Because today people talk about, your actually background. What colleges are you coming from? So that is extremely important. So that being the case, I think ensuring that NSB holds a key position among academic institutions and is seen as a very mature institution is our top priority at this point in time.
Great. So moving on to the next question. When you first came to NSB, what was your vision for the college, and has it evolved over time, and how far along in implementing that vision are you now?
Thank you, Samra. I think this is a question for soul searching. To be very honest with you, my case is very different. I did not come to NSB. I brought NSB to this world. In the sense, I was the one who started the idea of NSB from scratch. It's more or less like a greenfield venture. Let me tell you, NSB did not come from the fact that we had resources or we had a political or authority or power or anything. No, it is not. It is not like that. I think the only thing what we had was an intention to be of some consequence to the society, and we wanted to actually become an institution that would educate and train students in the real spirit of training and education. That was the only intention. So therefore, NSB started with borrowed money, and we started in a small building. We started crawling. We started then getting up and walking. Then we started running. And I'm telling you, today we are flying high. We are flying very high. All this happened because we had only one mission: to be true to ourselves, to do something which we know very well, and to be of consequence to students. And in spite of the fact that we were extremely small, many parents who come could see the vision and the possibility in that institution, and they grew it. And today it has become an astonishingly impressive institution located on a sprawling 6-acre campus. Design is ultimate, and this is best-in-class facilities created even for the international students who come here. So all in all, this transformation, this journey has been excellent and extraordinary. It's very unwavering commitment to what we really wanted. There was no scope for us to do any mistakes, and we never intended to do that. It's very simple. We started with the vision. We are right on the track, and we are doing a great job. And we will continue to do this and make everyone who is connected with NSB and our society very proud in the days to come. And thank you for asking this question.
Wonderful, wonderful. So now that we know about the vision of NSB, I'll still go ahead with this question. So what would you like people to know about your college they may not know?
One thing is extremely important. What should one know about educational institution is, in educational institution, we do not manufacture degrees. I want everyone to know this. What we manufacture and what we create is your career. And transformation is something that should happen in you. So we are not a company that would manufacture nuts and bolts and put it outside for consumption. We are the people who are in the process of, or in the business of transforming people and lives. And that is one thing that people need to know about NSB. People should not come to NSB asking, okay, will I get an MBA degree? That is the last question that I want them to ask. It is not about question. And I want them to ask, tell me what would happen. Will it be a launch pad for my career? Can it be a sea from where I can actually dive deep and discover the pearls of wisdom? Can it be an institution like that? So therefore, actually, I want people to know that NSB is not an institution, which would look at, how many programs we have, how many students graduate now. Actually, we always ask a question, what is our transformation process? How was a student when he or she joined the institution, and what transformation, what value addition did we do, and how are they doing today? I think that is the only thing that defines NSB's landscape. So I want people to know that NSB is not for people, who want to be ordinary, who would like to create an ordinary impact in the society. I want people to know that NSB is for people who would like to bring in groundbreaking results, and people who would like to create a huge impact in societies, because we are committed to that excellence. We do not want to take 1,000 students and create an ordinary citizens out of them. We want to take only a handful of students and ensure that when they go out, they have the potential to become great citizens of this country. And that's how we want NSB to be remembered. That's how we want people to approach NSB.
Great. So what do you see as NSB's greatest strength?
The first important thing is NSB's greatest strength is its vision. We don't have anything other than this transformational goal of student and creating a big impact. Thankfully, this is not founded by any politician or business people, or we do not have anything, and we do not talk about anything other than how are we actually helping our students to discover better careers and become great citizens. I think that is the ultimate of all, and everything else that is required is actually built because we have a lot of agility, we have a lot of flexibility built into the system, and decisions would not take months and years. Decisions are made in fraction of a second, and it is always in the interest of the students. If we see that something is required, we get it very quickly, and then we are always marching ahead, and then we always ensure that we keep global standards in mind, because someone who is nearby is not our standard, and our standard is a gold standard. What are the gold standard? What are the benchmarks? How do we ensure that we meet those benchmarks? So that being the case, we want to keep NSB very small and then very agile, very flexible. Small is beautiful, according to me. Small is beautiful, and sometimes the small is big. You are small because you're only doing MBA program, but then your impact has to be very big. So small is big for us, and that's how NSB. I would say that is very unique, because we think about only one thing at a time, and if it is MBA, it is just MBA. And we want it to be a world-class MBA.
Wonderful, sir. Wonderful. I really like the way how you emphasized on how small can be so big. So that's great. So now that we've spoken about the biggest strengths of NSB, what are some of the biggest challenges you see, both for higher education in general and for NSB as well?
Excellent. Very good question again. See, today's biggest challenge is number one. These are the challenges which are created in the environment in which you live. The first important thing, academics is completely disconnected from the industry. And this is actually is visible in quite a few surveys that are conducted by many consulting firms. They say that only 20% of the graduates who are coming out of the colleges are employed. I think this puts a lot of responsibility on educational institutions. First thing is to ask a question as to why are we so disconnected from the industry? And if there is so much of a disconnection, then how do we ensure that this connection is removed? We connect to industry properly. We bring in a very intense industry interface. Let me tell you, especially this question is very relevant, Samra, because we are an MBA institution. We train students in advanced management skills. And if we are not connected with the industry, I think everything that we are doing will be lost. So therefore, I think one of the biggest challenges is how do we ensure that we bring in this intense industry interface? And in NSB, we do it extremely beautifully. We have quite a few programs which I'll elaborate a little later. So that is one important thing. And second important thing, I'll tell you, I was reading a book and then it actually sent me a chill in my spine. It said today 90% of the productive time of an adult is spent on things which are not so useful. May it be social media, may it be something else. 90% of the productive time of the adults is spent on useless things. So that means to say, as an educational institution, as an educator, what responsibility I have to ensure that they are all focused on accomplishing something great in their lives. How do we ensure that the 90% time that is wasted on least productive activities are brought back to productivity? And actually it would be sleepless nights for anyone who can actually think what would happen to India's productivity and India's future if that 90% of the time which is spent on useless activities is brought back to productivity, brought back to usefulness. And this actually requires educational institution to, in a way, transform the education. First of all, let me be very honest with you. I think most of the educational institutions today are very good. How can you make an adult sit in the classroom and drill down hours and hours of lecture? What kind of an impact it is going to create? I think we have to somewhere embrace the theory of andragogy. Theory of andragogy says adults learn best when they are in action. So now the whole effort should be actually putting students in action. I think that is going to be a big challenge. Discovering new pedagogies, because today some of the things that are available in academics may not be sufficient to put adults in intense action. So therefore, I think the biggest challenge is going to be how do we put these people in action so that they are never bored of learning. So I think, as I said, these are the two fundamental challenges according to me. And NSB is truly on its way to discovering solutions, and hope the future is going to be bright.
So true, sir. I strongly agree with you on this. Skill-based learning and outcome-based learning is what we need right now. So moving on to the next question, what are some plans that you're currently or will be designing for NSB's international affair for students?
Excellent. So we have, in fact, a lot of plans. The one thing is certain, the future is only about globalization. Today, of course, because of the pandemic, there has been a lot of discussions about imposing additional taxes or breaking relationships. All these things might happen in the temporary phase, but then I am convinced that globalization as such is an irreversible process. And cooperation amongst countries is going to intensify as we go along. So therefore, the same thing will have to happen in the education system as well. We have to actually create more and more opportunities for our students to experience the realities in the international business environment. I think no manager in this current scenario can make a pragmatic decision unless that component of globalization or the internationalization is brought into the curriculum. Because today, anything that happens cannot be assessed solely based on what is happening in our country. It has to be assessed only in the context of the global business environment. And there is always a saying, if America sneezes, the rest of the countries catches cold. Even today, I think countries and business happenings, developments, products and services, and the level of technology in those countries are likely to impact India and India's business to a very great extent. Since there is this interconnectedness is something that is already established, I think bringing more and more opportunities for internationalization is extremely critical. So what can we do about it? Number one, internationalization of the curriculum and bringing in more and more international students to ensure that the campus really have that international culture. Third important thing, ensuring that our people have access to international education through exchange programs and immersion programs and so on. So I think this is going to be the way, and then more and more academic collaboration is extremely required at this point in time. Somehow.
Great, okay. So how do you tend to establish a healthy relation and environment in your institute?
Brilliant. Healthy relationship. Let me be very frank with you. A relationship is a function of your truth, your honesty, integrity, and then genuineness. So that means to say, if leader really focuses on vital issues, if really, honestly, sincerely committed to organizational excellence, and he has a clear vision and clearly articulated goals, and all these things are clearly communicated. And if students are aware of the fact that the institution is spending its sleepless nights on figuring out the best opportunities, best scenario, and in creating best learning environment for them, I think relationship is going to be very, very great. So you will respect me as long as you know that I am here to only help you, and in no circumstance I would harm you. So creating more of transparency in our organization, keeping a smiling face and genuinely being interested in solving the problems of people is going to actually establish the kind of relationship that you want. So I think relationship is extremely beautiful. NSB is an institution with a very great RQ, relationship quotient. Because it's very simple, we relate to the problems that are faced by the students. Because always I cannot think from my perspective. I mean, if at all, if good relationship has to exist, it is extremely important that we always put ourselves in somebody else's shoes and think from their perspective, and then give suggestions and solutions that best fits their requirement. And I think at NSB, the relationship, this thing is very simple. We always tell the students that, look, in any situation we are there. Your relationship with NSB is not just for 2 years. It is a lifelong relationship. Once you are a student of NSB or a student of NSB, always. And similarly, NSB is your host institution. We always would like to, keep in touch with you, see what is happening in your lives, allow you to discuss very freely what support you want, and we ensure that they are supported after 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. And I know of many students who come back and take quite a few resources from an institution even today, and we are extremely happy about it. I think educational institution, it's very, very simple. It's a place for relationship, wherein your relationships are intense with the leaders, with professors, with everyone. And then you come back here and not only to reminisce the past, the student days you had in NSB, but also upgrade yourself. I think relationship is the word, especially for education industry. The better the relationship, the greater the institution would be. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. So moving on to the final question of the edition and the golden one. Any suggestions you would like to give to the current youth and aspiring students?
Excellent. A very general question. I'm sure their parents must be doing it, their well-wishers must be doing it, but then I think as a professor, I also love to do this. Thank you for this opportunity, first of all. First important thing is, very soon people will have to realize their aspirations, their dreams. They need to understand their own selves, what they are good at is. So the first important thing, once you know what you want to do, second important thing is, you know what you are good at. Putting these two things in perspective, you will have to focus on creating something beautiful. Anyone can actually live a life of contribution. I think we are gifted with this particular life. I see many people wasting it. It can happen, but unfortunately, that is not the reason why we exist. I think living the life of contribution and playing our role, and joining our hands and building a beautiful community around ourselves, and giving our best is what we are meant to do. And then I'm sure this is the great way to go. So for all aspiring managers, my best wishes. Discover your aspirations, goals, and then give yourself to it and become the finest individual. Leave a legacy, and God bless you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for coming forward and sharing your wisdom with us and and the entire country. It was so enlightening, and your thoughts and ideas are so inspiring. And it's an honor to have you on board. So thank you so much for this.
Thank you, Samra. College Dunia is a great platform. I think your company is insistently helping students in discovering right kind of opportunities for education, and I wish you good luck to the entire team of College Dunia. And thank you for this role, thank you for this opportunity, and this is really great. Continue to do this good job. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. The pleasure is all ours. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day ahead.
You too, have a great day.